Alright, so this is my fourth weekly reflection on the culture of sharing, and last week we had our first chance to present the research that we have come up with over the last couple of weeks as a group, investigating the culture of sharing through affinity diagramming, mapping trends in the history of sharing, and then applying or sorting sharing activities against a framework designed by Donna Meadows of 9 design leverage points, or 9 leverage points for design intervention within a system. So as a group, we had gone through various processes to map that. I went through it last week. We came up with a cool diagram to explain the methods that we used and how all of those methods come together. And so we presented this to the class, and we had some good feedback. People seemed to respond to our graph very well, and they seemed to understand where we were going. But in general, the response that we got seemed to point to the fact that we were focusing at a very broad level about how these 3 frameworks or models or methods of understanding sharing came together, and we didn't present as much what we knew about or what we discovered about the culture of sharing. So as we move forward, it will be extremely important to keep applying all of the discussions we've had about the activities people engage in when they share, and use that diagram that we came up with as a way to reflect on those acts of sharing, and then hopefully it will point to moments where we can intervene in design, and hopefully it will give us a solid base to discuss some of the principles that we have discovered so far. So after our discussion and after our presentation, my group has met, and we've had some time to reflect on what we've learned. And yesterday we had a really good discussion about the difference between movements, paradigms, and trends. And so I would just like to walk you through a few of the things that we talked about. So, alright, so let's say we start off with this guy or girl here, and he or she has their own beliefs, thoughts, ideas, ways of acting and interacting with other people in their environment. And throughout their life, they notice some other people doing other things. Maybe it's recycling or buying organic foods. And so here they are, and they kind of spot what's going on down here, and they say, oh, all these people are going over here, and what they're doing kind of aligns with what I'm interested in doing. So maybe I'll join them in wherever they're going, in whatever direction they're going. And if enough people do that, and they make the conscious decision, conscious being the key word in this, it becomes a movement where people are moving together around a specific idea or belief. And when that occurs, and if enough people join that, and it becomes a way of thinking in a group of people or a society or a country, and enough people kind of join together, and it becomes the norm, becomes the dominant way of acting. It can be a new paradigm, a new way of actually living and interacting with the world. And then if we continue down here, and the major distinction that we came up with between a paradigm and a trend is a trend isn't necessarily a conscious decision that somebody makes to take a part in. That you can take a part in a movement, and even paradigms people are relatively conscious of, but trends are kind of larger, and they unfold over time, and they're revealed over time. So if we start out in the past, and a few people have adopted a certain paradigm, and that paradigm maintains or even grows over time, you might end up with a trend. And so what that does is it kind of outlines a couple of different things. So we're trying to decide where can design come into this, and we as a group decided that maybe design you can't design a paradigm shift, or you can't design a trend, but you can design things that will facilitate, enable, or incite movements and they need to be able to adapt and grow with paradigm shifts, and that hopefully understanding trends will give us the ability to identify and predict what can happen in the future. So all of these things point to a need for us as designers to use design not only as a tool for facilitating interactions, whether it's through the objects or experiences we design, but also using design as a way to understand, and it's something that we have used so far in the semester and we will continue to use as a way to understand what is happening in a particular area, how to identify those trends, and how design can react to them, or even react in front of them, or act in front of them, or predict what is going to happen. So that's just a few of the things we learned this week, and hopefully my little sketch helps illustrate that. So thanks, bye.